For thousands of years, the deserts of Mesopotamia kept a secret buried beneath layers of dust, stone, and forgotten time, a secret so strange, so unsettling, that even after archaeologists uncovered it, many refused to speak openly about what it described. Because carved into a fractured Sumerian tablet, written in symbols older than nearly every known civilization, was a claim that should not exist, not a story about kings, not a record of trade, not even a myth about gods. But a detailed account of 5 entire worlds that existed before ours, 5 civilizations, 5 ages of existence, 5 eras that came before humanity as we know it, each one described with terrifying precision, each one ending in destruction. And the 5th, final world before ours, ended with a warning the ancient scribes believed was meant for whoever came next, for us, and the strangest part, the symbols didn't read like mythology, they read like memory. As if someone or something had actually witnessed these worlds rise and disappear. Tonight, we step into one of the oldest mysteries ever carved into stone, a forgotten Sumerian record, a sequence of worlds erased before history began. And a chilling question hidden beneath it all. What if human civilization was never truly the first? Long before pyramids rose in Egypt, before empires expanded across continents, before writing spread across human civilization, there was Sumer. Ancient Mesopotamia, a civilization historians often call the birthplace of recorded history. Their cities flourished between the Tigris and Euphrates. Their astronomers mapped the skies. Their priests documented floods, kings, eclipses, and cosmic patterns. But among thousands of clay tablets discovered in Iraq during the last 2 centuries, a small number have always remained unusually difficult to explain. Some mention beings descending from the heavens. Others describe impossible structures buried beneath rivers, and a handful contain records so mysterious they blur the line between history and myth. One such artifact was reportedly unearthed near the ruins of an ancient temple complex not far from the old city of Nippur. At first glance, it appeared ordinary. Weathered clay, broken edges, desk cuneiform, but one translator noticed something unusual. A repeated phrase appearing across multiple sections, a phrase that translated roughly as, "the worlds before the current sky." The line appeared again and again, always followed by numerical symbols, then descriptions, then catastrophe. What researchers discovered next was even stranger. The tablet wasn't describing gods creating Earth. It was listing previous worlds, one after another, as if Earth had passed through multiple ages, each one radically different, each one ending before ours began, and according to the ancient text, our world is only the 6th. The first world was called something historians loosely translate as the age beneath the golden light. The tablet described a land flooded with brightness, not sunlight exactly, but an atmosphere illuminated by what scribes called the eternal skyfire. There was no mention of darkness, no night, no stars, only endless golden radiance. Mountains towered over shining plains, massive rivers crossed landscapes of polished stone. And beings lived there, tall, radiant, described as flesh woven with light. The tablet never calls them human, it never gives them a name. Only symbols linked with brightness and celestial power. The strange part? These beings were said to possess extraordinary knowledge. They shaped structures using sound, moved stone without touching it, and understood the patterns of the heavens before the stars became visible. Then came destruction. The text says, "The sky changed its breath. The golden light dimmed, cracks opened across the land, and what had once shone eternally, consaps the first world ended not through war, but through a shift in the heavens themselves. Its people vanished. Its cities disappeared, and the earth entered darkness, but that was only the beginning. Then came the second world, known as the waters of endless storm. The imagery carved into the tablet becomes violent here. Towering waves, lightning, blackened skies, roaring seas swallowing stone. The text describes oceans larger than anything known today, entire continents hidden beneath storm systems, and creatures inhabiting waters so deep, scribes called them the mouths below creation. This world was not calm. It was unstable, powerful, alive with relentless weather, and yet civilizations existed there too, built atop cliffs, massive towers overlooking dark oceans. People, or perhaps beings unlike us, navigated storms using celestial markers. Their cities glowed blue. Their ships were described as floating against thunder. Then archaeologists noticed something impossible. The tablet refers to an event, a cosmic strike. A burning object falling from above. After impact, seas rose beyond control, lightning shattered the skies, entire lands drowned. The text claims the world screamed, and then silence, a second civilization erased, another age gone. Buried before memory, the third world is where the tablet becomes colder. Literally, its title translates as the Silent White Kingdom. A frozen age, an earth locked in ice, massive glaciers stretching beyond the horizon. Stone monuments buried beneath snow, and towering beings moving through blizzards. The scribes carved them with elongated faces and enormous eyes. Some researchers dismiss these as symbolic, but the consistency is unsettling. The beings are repeated across several sections, always standing among frozen pillars, always looking upward toward the sky. The tablet describes absolute silence, no storms, no oceans, only frozen wind and stillness, and beneath the ice, entire structures preserved below crystal layers. Then another mystery, a repeated phrase appears. The warmth beneath began to wake. Volcanic fire surged upward, ice-cracked mountains split, and the frozen kingdom collapsed into floods and steam. The third civilization disappeared beneath melting ice and boiling stone. Gone, again 3 worlds, 3 endings, and still tablet continues. The fourth world feels different, dark, violent, almost terrifying. Its name translates as the red land of fire and wings. Here the carvings become chaotic, volcanoes erupting, rivers glowing red, winged figures standing across black landscapes, cities carved into cliffs of volcanic glass, the atmosphere itself described as burning. But what made translators pause was the language. Unlike earlier worlds, this civilization is described as aggressive, expanding. Conquering the beings there were said to command flame, to build towers reaching toward the stars. To challenge powers beyond Earth. Then appears one of the tablet's most chilling passages, a line translating roughly as they reached where they were forbidden, and immediately after, the sky opened. Fire descended, mountains exploded. Ash blocked the heavens, and the fourth world was consumed, not by nature alone, but by something the scribes imply was punishment, a boundary crossed, a power awakened, a civilization erased instantly. Then silence returned, and Earth changed again. The fifth world is the most mysterious because, unlike the others, feels closest to us. Its title translates as the realm of shadows and memory. The carvings show ruined stone cities, dark towers, massive gates. Figures cloaked in long garments, human-like, more than any world before. The tablet suggests this civilization understood previous worlds. They searched ancient ruins, studied buried remains, decoded symbols left behind, just as we do now. Which raises an impossible thought. Were they archaeologists too? Were they uncovering civilizations even older than themselves? The text claims they possessed advanced astronomical knowledge. They tracked celestial cycles, predicted movements, and discovered something approaching, a pattern in the sky, a return, a cycle. Then comes the warning, a direct inscription unlike anything before. When the fifth remembers the first, the sixth begins beneath the same stars. Researchers still debate what it means, but the implication is chilling because, according to the tablet, their world ended, and ours began immediately after. No long gap, no reset, just transition, as if one age collapsed and another emerged. And humanity entered history without realizing what came before. Skeptics argue the tablet is symbolic, a mythological cosmology, ancient imagination, but others point to strange overlaps, global flood myths, legends of golden ages, ice age ruins. Ancient cultures describing previous worlds. The Maya spoke of earlier creations, Greek myth described lost ages, Hindu texts mention repeating cycles, even distant civilizations separated by oceans record stories of worlds destroyed before ours. Why? Coincidence, shared imagination, or fragments of something ancient humanity never fully forgot? Then there's archaeology, submerged ruins, ancient structures older than expected, unexpected alignments. Sites buried beneath layers history can't easily explain. Nothing proves the tablet literally, but enough anomalies remain to keep the mystery alive, and the more researchers study ancient civilizations, stranger history becomes. Because hidden beneath this Sumerian record, there may be another layer, a deeper message. The 5 worlds aren't simply a list, they form a pattern. Light, water, ice, fire, shadow, a progression, a sequence, almost elemental. Almost ritualistic, as if Earth itself passed through stages or civilizations rose under specific conditions, then collapsed. And our era? The 6th, the tablet's damaged final section, offers only fragments, but one line survived, partially broken. Still terrifying, it translates roughly as the 6th world will inherit the ruins, but not remember the cause. If true, then humanity may be living atop forgotten civilizations without knowing, entire ages beneath our feet buried beneath deserts. Oceans, ice mountains, and every generation starts over believing itself first, believing history begins with them, until another artifact surfaces, another warning appears, and the cycle becomes harder to ignore. Imagine the ancient scribe carving this by lamplight, pressing symbols into wet clay, knowing future civilizations may one day find it, knowing memory would fade, knowing empires would vanish, yet leaving behind a record not for kings, not for priests, but for whoever inherited the next world. And perhaps that explains the urgency in the final lines, not celebration, not myth, but warning. The tone changes, sharper, urgent, as if time was running out. As if the writer had seen something approaching and needed the next civilization to understand, because maybe every previous world believed itself permanent, until the sky changed, until oceans rose, until ice cracked, until fire descended, until shadows returned. And now, our world watches climate shift, ancient glaciers melt, volcanic systems awaken, the skies fill with satellites and cosmic observation. Humanity studies stars again, builds higher, reaches farther, reaches underground. Searches space just as the fourth world reached upward, just as the fifth studied ruins. The parallels feel uncomfortable. Perhaps coincidence, perhaps storytelling, or perhaps history repeating in patterns we barely recognize. And somewhere beneath Mesopotamia, more tablets may still remain untranslated, broken, waiting. Beneath collapsed temples, sealed chambers, layers of forgotten civilization. Maybe one day another fragment will emerge. Another missing section, one that names the sixth world, one that explains why the fifth ended, one that reveals whether the cycle continues, or when until then, this fractured clay tablet remains one of ancient history's strangest mysteries. 5 worlds before ours, 5 civilizations erased, 5 warnings buried in stone, and one haunting possibility that human history is not the beginning. Only the latest chapter, a chapter unfolding atop ruins older than memory. Under stars that may have witnessed everything before. And if the ancient Sumerian scribes were right, if this record was not myth but remembrance, then somewhere beneath our cities, beneath deserts, beneath oceans and stone, remains of those earlier worlds still exist, silent, waiting. And perhaps the greatest mystery isn't whether they were real, but whether we are destined to become the sixth civilization, remembered only as another vanished world, carved onto stone for whoever comes next. Because if the tablet tells the truth, then history has ended before more than once, and tonight, beneath the same sky that watched 5 worlds disappear, humanity may be far closer to the next chapter than we ever imagined.